Hi, everyone. Good morning. It is Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and I am here with another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration. Usually, we talk about things that have happened within the past week, but sometimes immigration being immigration, it takes them more than a week. So we sometimes go outside that week. So, I like to dive right on in. The first thing I want to talk to y'all about is the J-1 two-year foreign residency requirement. So the J-1 visa is for exchange visitors, those folks that are coming over to the U.S. To share their knowledge, to gain knowledge. But then a crucial piece of the J-1 is that they are going back home in order to share what they have learned in the United States with folks at home in their home country or their country of last residence. So part of that going home is that there is a 2-year foreign residency requirement. So after your J-1 program is over, most folks are required to go home for 2 years before they can then apply for another visa to come back into the United States. If you are in the United States, it is made very clear to you when you got your J-1 that you cannot switch to other statuses. You cannot get a green card until this 2-year foreign residency has been achieved. And so there are very, very, very few exceptions to this 2-year foreign residency rule. So CIS, Immigration Service, has just recently updated their guidance with the following. They have said that they are the agency that determines if the individual has actually met their 2-year foreign residency requirement, and the standard that they are using is the preponderance of the evidence standard. So it is incredibly important that you have documents to show that you have met your 2-year foreign residency requirement at home or your country of last residence. They have also explained that any portion of a travel day, so if you were traveling in and out of your home country on a specific day, any portion of that day in which you were in your home country or your country of last residency counts towards being at home. And counts towards that satisfaction of your 2-year foreign residency requirement. They have also clarified that when individuals come to them and say, well, I was prevented or I couldn't fulfill my 2-year foreign residency requirement, the Immigration Service is going to take that on a case-by-case basis. They are not just going to, believe you or believe me. They're not just going to say, okay, Carol, we absolutely believe you that your client couldn't do this. It is really a case-by-case basis. So it is imperative that we get in there, we dig in, we find out why you couldn't do it, and we present them with documentation showing why you could not meet your 2-year foreign residency requirement. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. 2-year foreign residency requirement oftentimes shows up right around H-1B cap season when individuals are looking to transition from their J-1 to an H-1, and they want to know how they can make that smooth transition without having to go home. And so that's when a lot of these conversations, at least in my practice, come up. So that is the J-1 foreign residency requirement. There have been some clarifications from CIS. So just keep that in mind if you are looking to either transition from a J-1 to another status, or you're looking to employ someone for a lengthy amount of time who is currently in J-1 and who has a foreign residency requirement. Next up, I want to talk about the I-9 form. So starting this week, starting on November 1, all employers, you must be using the current edition of the I-9. So the current edition has been released. It is the edition date that says 8/1/23 on it. You can already start using it, but as of November 1 this week, you must be using that new I-9 form. And as a reminder, back in July, so July 21st of this year, if you are an employer and you are enrolled in E-Verify, you can remotely look at the supporting documentation for the I-9. So if you have any questions about your I-9, how to complete them, what form should you be using, can you do a remote verification, please feel free to reach out to our office. We're more than happy to help with that. The next thing I want to talk about is L1s. So L1s are our intra-company transfers. Those are individuals that are being moved from a related company that is outside of the US to a sister company in the US. The USCIS has provided clarification in terms of what kinds of companies qualify. And I don't mean what kinds of companies in terms of what you're selling or whether it's a product or a service. I mean the corporate setup of your company. So if you are a sole proprietor and you would like to sponsor the owner, meaning yourself, that is not allowed under this new guidance. There is no real distinct difference between you as the sole proprietor and the business. So as a sole proprietor, you may not sponsor yourself as the owner. Now, that is wholly and apart different from a corporation or an LLC that has a single owner or a single member. There, legally, there is a difference. There is a distinct entity being the company and then the employee or the owner. So my corporations or my LLCs with single owners and single members, you all may apply for an L1 to bring someone over from an overseas entity, even if that individual is the single member owner. So I've gotten some questions on that, so I wanted to reiterate that for everyone. So when you are looking at either opening up a sister company here in the United States or joining forces with a company here in the United States and then transferring folks from overseas to the US, you want to make sure that the right corporate structure for that US entity is in place. If you don't have the right corporate structure in place, that L1 will not be approved by USCIS. So please keep that in mind. Again, if you have any questions about that, or you're looking to expand your business into the United States and create a business here in the US, feel free to reach out to our office. We help folks with that often. So individuals that are looking to register for the diversity visa lottery, your time is now. So the fiscal year 2025 diversity visa registration is currently open. It opened October 4th and it ends November 7th. So it ends in a very short time. So if you are eligible and you want to apply for the diversity visa and get yourself into that lottery, you want to get yourself registered, make sure that you do so before November 7th because that registration period, that lottery period closes on November 7th. It is all done electronically. Make sure that you once you register, make sure that you keep your confirmation number. Department of State will not be able to give that to you later, so make sure you guard that closely because then you will have to go online, plug that number in once they tell you that they've run the lottery and see if you were indeed selected. So again, diversity visa registration is currently open and it closes November 7th. So good luck to everyone that applies for the diversity visa lottery. And the last thing I want to talk about, as usual, is a national interest tip, national interest waiver tip. National interest waiver is a second preference for green card application. Because it's second preference, the baseline requirement is that an individual have a master's degree or higher. If you don't have a master's degree, that doesn't mean that you cannot get a national interest waiver, but we will need to show that you either have the equivalent of a master's degree or that you have exceptional ability. We will also need to show that your proposed endeavor, your proposed career path, your proposed job has both substantial merit and national importance to the United States, and that you as the candidate are well positioned to advance that proposed endeavor. And third, we will need to show that on balance, it is beneficial for the United States to waive the normal EB2 requirements. So That means asking the government to waive the normal requirement of having a job offer and a sponsor, an employer sponsoring this application, as well as waiving the labor certification application, which means waiving the requirement to advertise for a qualified US citizen. So, my tip of the week for national interest waiver is if you would like to self-sponsor your application, your green card application through the national interest waiver, meaning you do not have an employer sponsoring this application, you must have a very clear plan as to how you will advance your endeavor. The plan cannot just be in your head. I talk with so many people that are like, oh, but Carol, the plan, I got it. It's in my head. It's going to be great. It's going to be amazing. Fabulous. Put it down on paper. Good old pen and paper, right? A written business plan is a very clear way and a helpful way to show the Immigration Service that you have thought about your endeavor, that you can clearly articulate your endeavor, that you know who you're going to help with your endeavor, that you know how many people you're going to help, you know the region you're going to help, you know how you're going to help. And so a business plan that very clearly lays out for the Immigration Service who, what, when, why, and where, all the important things. That is what you want when you are doing a self-sponsored national interest waiver application. If it is a new business idea, if it is something that you have not launched, if it is sort of in its infancy, or you are somehow transitioning from let's say one career to the next, you want to make sure that we are able to show the Immigration Service that you have a clear plan laid out for you. And one great way to do that is through a very comprehensive business plan. So that is all I have for y'all this morning. I am Carol Williams, Managing Attorney of Williams Immigration, boutique immigration law firm. We help individuals nationally as well as internationally. If you have any questions about your immigration case, you're looking to expand your business into the United States and move yourself as well as your family and other key folks into the U.S., we are here to help you. Please feel free to reach out to us. Have a wonderful Monday morning, a great rest of your week, and I will see you